Is it finally here? The thing that we have been waiting for since the announcement that Everquest Next had been cancelled. Well, maybe. Let's get this out of the way. No, we do not have an official announcement of an Everquest 3. In fact, we don't even know if this news is related to Everquest or an MMO, but there are several strong indicators that it actually really might be. Let's break it down. Daybreak Games, the custodian of Everquest, Everquest 2, Lord of the Rings Online, and more, has posted a position for a creative director working at Darkpaw Games. Darkpaw, as many of you already know, is the section of Daybreak that is responsible for Everquest and Everquest 2. That's it. That is everything that Darkpaw covers. But that's only part of what makes this posting so interesting. The creative director will provide creative leadership for game aesthetics, mechanics, design, and story for Darkpaw Games. This position will provide visionary oversight and creative direction for an unannounced title within Darkpaw Games. Establish and refine the high-level core gameplay loops, advise on and develop supplementary systems that reinforce gameplay loops that focus on core pillars of the game. Community and teamwork, working together and building social bonds to achieve things that you can't do, or is very hard to do, on your own. Fairness, you perform certain gameplay actions, put the time in, work hard, and you get rewarded. Your accomplishments and achievements are never taken away. Escape and exploration. We build alternative worlds where players can take a break from real life or want to get a feeling of exploring something new with a sense of danger. High fantasy exploration. Now, if that doesn't sound like an Everquest game, I'm not sure what does, and not just any Everquest game, but an Everquest MMO. Now, of course, the way that it's being described could apply to a lot of different things, a lot of different games outside of the Everquest world, right? But there's a couple things here that I want to highlight and why I feel so strongly that this actually is pertaining to an Everquest MMO. First is that it is with Darkpaw Games. Darkpaw only having one IP, Everquest. Whether you think of Everquest as being separated into Everquest 1 and 2, that's a different story. But essentially, Everquest is the IP under this specific branch of Daybreak Games. And second, they have said that this is an unannounced title, meaning that this is not for Everquest or Everquest 2. It doesn't sound like it's an expansion or anything like that. It sounds like a whole game, a new game that has not been announced at all, and will be in the early development phases. But there's even more to that. There's even more to suggest that this actually is specifically Everquest. In the required experience skills section, there's a few key interesting takeaways. Experience developing MMO games. Strong portfolio of work in current game engines, Unreal Engine 4 and 5. Experience working on PC and console games. Experience developing games on pre-existing IP. Now again, I want to point out here that this is not explicitly saying that this is going to be for Everquest 3, a new MMO, but it certainly sounds like it, doesn't it? A pre-existing IP from the company that only has one IP, or at least the game branch of that company that only has one IP, an MMO from a game company again that only has MMOs. It should be noted that the MMO part of that, the experience with MMOs, was separate from the PC games and console games section. And thankfully, it was not required to have experience developing a mobile game. Now, of course, there is the outside shot here that Darkpaw will actually be adding in some new IP, a different IP from Everquest. It's something that I'll be watching for EG7's investor documents, but until then, this looks like a new Everquest MMO, or MMO adjacent title. Who knows if it's an Everquest 3, a remake of Everquest 1, or something entirely different. We know that EG7, the parent of both Darkpaw and Daybreak, has in the past mentioned they wanted to explore their world-class IPs they owned. I personally thought that meant we might get something like Champions of Norath or Lords of Everquest style single-player games, but this is promising. Whatever comes of this looks like great news for fans of Everquest because at the very least, Daybreak is looking at the future. Now, of course, this is going to be years and years away, The role specifically talks about start to finish, and with how long games are currently taking, we probably won't hear much for half a decade or more about this game. But hey, see you in 2030, right about the time that we'll actually be playing Elder Scrolls 6 most likely after, unannounced delays. But I want to hear what you have to say. What do you think? Am I reading way too much into this? Is there too much copium going on? Because I have been wanting a third EverQuest for a very long time because the games are getting old. EverQuest is over 2 decades old at this point. EverQuest 2 is a shadow of its former self, a game that I actually enjoyed when it launched, but has quickly kind of gone downhill. Could we be getting a Unreal Engine 4 or 5 EverQuest in the foreseeable future? Could it be actually something happening? Or is it something completely different? What do you think it is? Let us know down in the comment section below. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm going to get back to my other job because this was during my work day. Have a good one.